And we are live. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Interviews. This episode is a little off schedule because our guest is on the other side of the planet. That kind of
Yeah, I'm
we
so
kind of have to
sorry.
work. We kind of have to work things to work with the guests on occasion. You know, we can't just like everybody work our way. We rule. No, it isn't quite work like that. We are broadcasting simultaneously on Facebook and on YouTube. So everybody, welcome from whatever platform you are watching us from. And if you don't see it now and you're watching it later, welcome on the later views because we do get quite a few of those. So everybody, I got somebody. Is that you in the private chat? Yes, it was. It was
Oh
you
yeah,
telling
I'm
me.
so yeah.
It was you telling me you were
You were
here.
listening to you were listening to a song and you weren't hearing me, so I said hello.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I was rocking out to Total Spoof Band. You know, Infinite Sorrow, I believe, is the name of the spoof band. So,
yeah, really catchy
um,
song.
actually, those songs are catchy. I would demonstrate them, but they would totally just like get a content strike, the content claim. So
Oh yeah,
Ahmed here is the writer and colorist, I believe, on
yeah.
a book that I am proud to share with everybody. We would have normally shared it
Oh,
again
thanks.
on the regular show, but we had to do an off schedule thing. But I think that this is like I think that a book with a hero that has autism is not only a unique idea, but it does show that people with autism are not to be treated as useless, worthless garbage that you throw away. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think that as a society we're starting to realize that, even though there are still facilities just filled to the brim with children with autism and they're just thrown away by their
you're
families,
right.
which
Yeah,
I find it to be absolutely disgusting. But that's just my personal thing. Some people may think that human are nothing more than livestock. I know that there's some corporations that think that way. You know what I mean? So it's just, especially the ones that run prisons. You know what I mean? Humans literally are livestock to them. So,
yeah,
there is a spectrum of different kinds of people. We understand that, but I believe that both Ahmed and me are the kind of people that think that we should bring awareness to autism and make people realize that autism is not something to be afraid of or think that is a retardation other than just another way that a person lives. You know what I mean? So.
exactly. Actually, yeah. Actually, I just read an article like 3 weeks ago about how they're trying in the US to change the view about autism from cause and cure to acceptance. It's just a different social status.
Well,
And
I think that,
actually,
yeah, I was gonna say I think that that a lot of people probably don't realize that we all like autism is just like a further along the spectrum of things that we all suffer in regular life. You know what I mean? Like we
yeah,
all of us have coping issues. Just some of us have learned to
exactly.
cope with our coping issues. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And then there's some of us that are really good. I mean, really good at this one thing over here, and but it's like our life is balanced out and we're real crappy at this thing over here. You know what I mean? It's like we have balance. We
Yeah,
may be more functional in normalized society because our balance is more along the middle of the axis, maybe. You know what I mean? Versus on the
mm,
ends. You know,
yeah, exactly.
and so like when you balance on the ends, you teeter totter sometimes. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, there's nothing more fun than a teeter totter when you're a little kid.
Yeah, good point. Exactly. And actually, if you see the cover of my comic, you're gonna see like the main character in the middle. He's the autistic Enkidu, and he's like beset by foes from all sides. And actually, I did it this way as a metaphor for the challenges an autistic person, how society throws all these challenges and at an autistic person. And it's tougher. It's mostly the same problems we have, but they deal with it differently. They take more time to deal with it, but eventually they overcome it. And that's how I'd like to help the autistic society, to help them, overcome their obstacles.
Yeah. What I like about your title, as far as its friendliness on Indiegogo, is I don't have
Yeah.
to type the whole thing. There's not a whole lot of titles on Indiegogo with the word epics in it, so it's just like
Yeah.
epics. Boom, there it is, first one on the list. I think that's actually, as far as a marketer in me, that's like, I was like, that was the way to go on your titling right there. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, I was happy about that. Yeah. I was
Because
really happy about that.
it's really
Yeah.
easy to find on Indiegogo when you're just searching the
Yeah.
word epics. Just put in epics, and an epic is a word that a lot of people would search. So I can see where people will find you by accident, just or like as you
Yeah.
the second thing on Indiegogo, third on their search, just because they want like epic comic. You know what I mean? And then boom, there you're
Oh.
going to be next to it. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
it's like those little marketing things that I love about aspects. But I have brought this up while I am telling people on Facebook that we have gone live. Why don't you give us your elevator pitch about the book real fast?
Sure. Well, Enkidu, who is autistic, the whole book is about a superhero with autism, and it's also a sequel to the oldest story found in human history, the Epic of Gilgamesh. The story is about Enkidu, who found his way out from the underworld, the Akala, which is a place no one who enters ever return, and he became a center of attention of ancient people and their descendants who want to find out if another evil found her way out from the underworld. And this is the main story about Enkidu, how he tried to overcome his obstacles in the modern world, and at the same time try to deal with his identity because he has amnesia. Yeah, so this is the
Yeah.
elevator.
So
Yeah.
that's all really cool. I mean, so okay. So what inspired you? I mean, to like, I obviously, you said that's like an extension of the Epics of Gilgamesh, where a lot of people aren't familiar with that. You know what I mean? So go into that a little bit, but tell us about what
Sure.
inspired this book. Like, where does it all come from for you?
Well, it came actually from the beginning. From it was inspired by my nephew. He has autism, and he's a very awesome kid. And growing up, I always try to play with him and teach him stuff. And sometimes when he plays, when he like loses his balance and almost fall, he balances himself very quickly, and he always impressed me how he does that, and made me think like, uh, if his brain works so fast that the whole world around him moves too slow, that makes him socially odd, and interacts with the world differently. So I thought about him in that way. So I just wanted to create a comic and dedicate it for him, and because I love Mesopotamian history, I just revisited the Epic of Gilgamesh, and while I was reading that book, which is the oldest story found in human history, it's around 4,000, older than 4,000 years. I Enkidu, the other, yeah, bless you. The
Thank you.
Enkidu, the other character, yeah, the other character in the story, when I read about him, he appeared odd to me, and he was depicted as an outcast of society, and they described him as animalistic and something different, and immediately I thought about him as an autistic person, and it just clicked, I thought, oh, the epics of Enkidu, and he was better than Gilgamesh in my eyes, because he was good from the beginning of the story, while Gilgamesh was a tyrant king. And when he met this Enkidu guy, he changed him. He made him a better person. He influenced him like my nephew influenced me. My nephew also
Yeah.
made me a better person. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I got inspired to create that story.
That is actually a beautiful tale, man. That's having being inspired by somebody in your life that you love and care about, and especially a nephew, brother's kid or sister's kid.
A brother's kid.
Brother's kid. So obviously brothers are real close. So you're I mean, it's got to be, you know, a great feeling to be able to share something like this with him. Does he know, he knows that you're doing this? Have you talked to him about it? Are you waiting to surprise him with it when it's done? What's the story there?
Well, he just turned 9. You know, he's not invested in the social media, so he still doesn't know anything about it. I never told him about it. So I'm just waiting. Once I publish that book, I'll just give him a copy and see how he's going to react, and then tell him that it's for you. You know, so he still doesn't know about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Does he read comic books at all yet, or?
Well, he started to. Well, he reads books with pictures, you know, but comic books. There's this Mickey Mouse comic that he reads, but he still haven't started, you know, with the Major League comic books. You know, I remember when I started. You know, I read a lot, but I remember my first comic, the one that made me fall in love with comic book.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I think, 9 or 10. Yeah, 10. It was. I'm sorry, 11. It was Batman versus Alien. I remember I saw this and I took it immediately and I read it and I thought, wow, it's an awesome story. I want to do that. You know, I want to read these books and maybe one day create one of those things. You know, so I remember that's when I fell in love. So hopefully my nephew will you know, fall in love with comics once he read this Epics of.
I don't see how he couldn't. I mean, it's especially knowing that his uncle wrote it, and that his uncle wrote it inspired by him. You know what I mean? And in a way for him. You know, he should find a love of comics just in that aspect alone. I mean, he may not love, you know, DC comics or Marvel comics or whatever, but he'll definitely love your comic.
Hopefully, you know. Hopefully.
Yeah, you give it to him, he's all like, "Oh, that's nice."
Actually, his birthday was last month, and I drew because he really loves Super Mario Odyssey. You know, I taught him how to play it, and I drew him as Super Mario Odyssey, and like his face and everything. And he holds it and walks around the house all the time. You know, he never let go of it. So if I give him the comic, I'm sure he likes my drawings. You know, every time I draw something for him, he always interested and look at me while I draw something. But he never saw me draw my comic yet. So once I do that and I give it to him, I'm pretty sure he's gonna like it, especially if he knows it's me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so that's very cool. So how far along is the book? How far along is the process of it right now?
Well, you see the art right now you're showing. We decided to go with something better. And yeah, I mean, I wish I could share you my divine art with you if you want.
You share your screen. I'll pop it up.
Oh, okay.
You know how to share screen on StreamYard? You click the little.
What can I show to you?
Okay, so you on the bottom there, you see where it says share screen. Towards in the middle on the bottom.
I'm sorry. I'm just share screen. Yeah, here
you click that, and then you select your browser tab or application. You know what I mean, that you want to share.
Can you see it now?
Not yet.
Oh, where am I going? What I'm
doing? You gotta select this. You gotta select it and then hit share.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There. Now it's coming up.
All right. Sure. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so this is my new art actually. Like this is one of the pages.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah, it's 10 times better, you know. So let me show you the first page. I think it shows a nice panoramic view. Yeah, it's this one, you know. So we decided to do something much better, you know, because we really got amazing support from the people, and we were trying to, you know, impress as much as, you know, to attract more readers to our comics.
I really like that artwork. Can you bring that back up and like blow it up?
Oh yeah, of course.
Zoom in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So this is a panoramic view of Baghdad, Iraq, and this is the train station, action train station over there. And that's just one scene. That's Enkidu. He's on the train with a mysterious bag that will be explained later. So as in the comic, you know, the first issue, I start like, this is a fan art. That's just a color person I did, so it's nothing. It's it starts in the middle of the story. I just introduce the character and I show his ability later, on things that he can do. And then later throughout the story, like the second issue, I'm gonna start from when he came out from the underworld, from the Kala. So in the beginning, I just start here. I show you who he is, what he is, and see. So this is the art, and we can agree that it looks much better than how
Definitely.
it must be. Yeah. So that's why there's I'm not gonna say delay, just because we're changing art, so we are like a couple of weeks maybe behind the schedule, but I'm still aiming for September release, and so far we are like third way through. Like we finished more than third of the comic, of the first issue. So yeah,
that's cool. How many pages is it going to be?
Around 30. It's 30 right
30
now.
pages?
But, yeah, 30 pages. But sometimes when my artist, sometimes we have some ideas to change some kind of a page at the end or something, and like it's supposed to be 32, but he convinced me with a different kind of panels. He's really good. He's very awesome. Moiso Muniz is from Brazil, and yeah, so change it a little bit. So, and this is his art. This is how we met him. He just I wanted to do a variant cover, so I told him to do if he wants, and he likes it. So, and yeah, so I started to work with him.
Excellent. Yeah, he does good work.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. He's very talented. And even Felix, he's really good, but he became more and busy lately. And when we talked about the comic, he actually didn't mind. I told him that I might go with another artist. He was very cooperative and very nice of him to do so. So we started.
Usually artists, when they're busy, they don't care that you want to go find some other another
Yeah,
artist.
I know. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's it. So I started with different artists.
Well, hey, this is great. So,
and let me show you something. Yeah. Because I mean, you just went through the pages and the perks appeared, and there's one of the perks that is sold out. It's finished. It's actually sold out in less than 2 days. It's they become a main character in the comic. So this guy is one of the main characters in the comic. This one is like is a son of a dean in university in US. I forgot which university, but one of the people, one of her staff who loves comics, him and his coworkers, they decided to chip in and to buy this perk for her son as a gift. And I sent her this today, and she showed it to her son, and he was like, and he's and I forgot to mention, her son, this character is also autistic. So when he saw this image and when he saw himself, he was like, "That's me," So and he was really happy, So this is one of the characters, and this is another one. I didn't post all of them yet, so these are actual people who I named a main character after them, and depending from where they are, I'm going to use their mythology, something from their history to shape their character, the story of their characters.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, and it sold out in less than 2 days.
There
are like
cool.
10 characters, but I just posted like 3 or 4. Yeah.
That's sweet. That's very nice, man.
Yeah.
I just let's see here. Why is that not showing up? I always got these glitches with StreamYard. They can you see that? Is it shown up to you yet? I haven't seen it yet. I should be sharing my screen, but I don't see it.
I've seen you. There's the ship, Captain Love's ship. I think that's Captain Love's ship, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm just going to.
Does it have a name?
Yeah, actually it does. It's the Big Ox Hauler. It's
Big Ox Hauler. I love that.
Big Ox Hauler. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's it's basically the Captain Love ship. Developed over time. The first way that it looked is very different than how it looks now, but it's still got the same general concept. It's basically a flying brick. You know what I mean? It's just it's a big, tough, super tough, like an ox, big and bad like an ox. You know what I mean? It just does a lot of loving work. It's just a workhorse.
Yeah, when I heard about Captain Love and I saw the trailers and everything, I was really intrigued and I liked it. And the reason why, because I'm a big fan of Firefly.
Ah,
I was one of the people who was devastated because they canceled it. How can you cancel something as awesome as that? And when I saw this ship, I don't know, I just thought of Serenity ship Firefly model. So
that is
yeah.
there is definitely influences of Firefly in the ship. In fact, there's actually a scene from the chapter one of a Pirate King. Let's see, actually, it's actually here on the campaign right here. That'll make you like if you're looking at the Rise of the Pirate King campaign. You totally like, yeah, that's totally inspired by the Serenity. Um, let's see, where do I? Here we go. Boom. Let me just change where I'm sharing.
True. Yeah, I love to see that.
Right here, this one. You can tell
Yeah.
by the way that it's landing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It sounds like that. The Fireflies.
Yeah,
Wow, awesome, man.
yeah, totally influenced. Like the way that's landing right there is totally influenced by the Serenity. Yeah, that is very. Yeah, there is. I mean, and Mel. There's a little bit of Mel in Captain Love. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I would say the comedic side of Captain Love is greatly
It's
influenced by
Malcolm
Mel.
Reynolds.
So it's a little bit of Malcolm, it's a little bit of Han Solo. You know what I mean? On the comedic side.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Oh, that's awesome.
combination.
That's really awesome. Maybe
Well,
one day they're gonna make it a TV series, and it will fill that gap left by canceling Firefly. Hopefully.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, Captain Love would make a great series. It would make a great movie. I've actually written. It started out as a movie script. So it actually, yeah, that's where the first version of the existence of Captain Love was a short. I actually wrote like a 30-minute short, and then it became a feature length script. It's actually a little over feature length, but it's still they don't have like a feature plus length. You know what I mean? It's if I was to make it into a movie, it would probably be like like roughly, like without cutting the script back or anything. It'd probably be like 2 and 10. You know what I mean? Something like that. Which is long. But it's I wrote it, with room for editing, and because you never know what you're going to run into. Plus, I didn't want to leave anything out when I wrote it. Like, okay, so like a good movie script, if you're like a Hollywoodite, you know what I mean? You want to be like between like 110 and 130 pages. You know what I mean? Uh, as far as the length of your script, because that's like digestible. It's what they're used to seeing. It's just like if you're playing the game, you want to give them something they're already used to looking at. Right? Captain Love is 213 pages. You know what I mean? So it's way outside their norm. But the reason why I did that is because there was a lot of things that I wanted to tell that maybe might hit the cutting room floor someday, but I didn't want to have to write it later. It's like these ideas, I put them all in the script. You know what I mean?
That's good.
So yeah, that's the way I write my scripts, and it drives some people crazy because they're like, "Oh, their script's so damn long." I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't understand."
Well, I heard that Quentin Tarantino, he writes them like novels. Of course, no one will say anything to Mr. Tarantino, but still, he doesn't write them like conventional scripts. He writes them as novels, and I think the Pulp Fiction, when they first saw it, no, Reservoir Dogs. I mean, they thought no one wants to publish it at the beginning, but later someone picked it up. I think one of the actors in the movie, and yeah, that's how it became published. So you never know, and
Well,
also could be a mini series.
yeah, no, I probably would spend more time trying to sell the property if I wasn't, if I wasn't spending so much time just trying to build the IP right now. So it's, it's someday, you know what I mean? It'll hopefully be a transition to other mediums. I'm already talking to people about possibly doing a cartoon, like an animated
Oh, awesome! That's very good.
But that's just it's so rudimentary, the conversation right now, that it may not happen. I've also engaged people in the past about the possibility of doing a series, and then actually like the movie that I've already written. Those people have always come back with develop the IP some more. You know what I mean? So because right now it's just an indie project. There's like just the first book is the only thing that's out there, and then chapter 1 of the second book is coming out. You know what I mean? So it's still very baby steps to most of the people that would want to see it at the comic book point, because most people don't take comic books very seriously. And then I have the hauler itself. I have a 3D version of that. That's we're trying to fine tune to make it just right. You know what I mean? And then that's going to be released as a toy. So people, you know what I mean, but not for children, for adults. Figurine toy.
Figurines,
not like run around and beat on things toy. Because Captain.
Well, that ship will make an amazing figurine.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. The coolest thing about that is once the 3D model is designed, I can use it for a lot of different things. You know what I mean? 3D printing, mold making, all kinds of stuff. So I'm looking forward to what can happen once I got the model done, because it's figurine I think will sell pretty good. But then I'm also gonna probably do like after I do the initial figurine, I'm probably gonna have the 3D model enhanced and make a larger version that I can take to conventions with me when I'm doing conventions.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
have it sitting there on the table, with me. People would be like, "Oh, that is awesome!" You know what I mean? That is so awesome. And then obviously I would have some figurines for sale, and and every posters for sale and books, and they'd come up to Captain Love and they're like, "This is not just some indie book out of nowhere. Look, you got toys and trading cards and this, and what I mean, it's like you have a spectrum of stuff, So that's what I'm working towards right now. I actually disappointed in the progress of things because the virus has shut down conventions all spring and summer. And I actually had planned to spend my entire spring and summer dedicated to promoting Captain Love at conventions and convention related stuff. And so it's like, I had 12 conventions lined up, you know what I mean, already. And then they got canceled. And there had been another 20 that I would have signed up for, or events that I would have attended. And right now my fingers crossed, because I had another one that was lined up for July that got canceled. And I had one that was lined up for August that's now canceled. And I'm like, I got one lined up for September. Let's hope that one doesn't cancel. You know what I mean? It's really hard. Like Facebook, it's really hard to reach out to people and find new fans on Facebook for a comic book. People on Facebook they want to follow you as a thought or whatever, like I'm not a girl with big boobies and showing my booty, so I'm not real popular on visual media. You know what I mean? They want something to visual media like that, and comic books are not. It's such a niche market anyway. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's to get something in front of that niche market that they can identify with and absorb in a very short time before they look away is a very difficult marketing challenge. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of Twitter and YouTube, is that you can actually engage an audience and start building people and get them to know you and talk to you and realize that you're there, and then this is the project that you're working on, and and so you're not just some random indie creator that's nothing. You actually are a real person to them who has real things going on, and it's
I agree.
like, it's like Simon Portia. He always says that this community is like having a 24-hour online con. You know what I mean? It's like it's like short little meet and greets, or like everybody's channel is like a table, or you know what I mean, or a series of a bunch of tables where you come and look at these books, come and talk about these books, meet the creator, that kind of thing. It's it's close to a con that way. So I think that it helps. It helps. So
Yeah, in a way it helps, yeah. And actually, I was thinking, because of this COVID thing, why don't they? I was thinking maybe they're gonna move on to do some kind of a virtual Comic Con thing, a comic convention that can be run virtually. And if they do that, it will expand to contain more creators, even from all over the world. Like
well,
one of my drawbacks is I cannot be at Comic Con San Diego or any other conventions, because right now I live in Kuwait.
right,
So
yeah.
it's kind of do it, yeah.
Comic-Con San Diego is supposed to be doing an online con, but I haven't really
Yeah.
heard them be very successful with it at this point, because again, it's like one of those mediums where comic books is something that you really want to hold in your hand. That's the biggest challenge we already face selling them online, is that it's people who buy comic books online usually buy digital. You know what I mean? Or they're looking for something specific. They're looking for a collector item that they've been hunting down. It's like, I want this one. You know what I mean? Or they're already like a fan of the series that they've got from the local comic book store, and they just know that it's going to be good, so they just buy it on Amazon and have it shipped to them, because they don't have to go to the comic book store. You know what I mean? Those So the indie guy, the guy that likes the indie books, you know what I mean? Those are a different kind of breed, and you have to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I enjoy indie books a lot more. I feel like they have more soul in them.
They do.
Big
Well,
companies
some do. Some suck. Some really suck. I have seen some, like, especially on Kickstarter, I have seen some real garbage campaigns. You know what I mean? I've seen some interesting ones, but I've seen some real garbage campaigns. I think that like anything else, you'll get a spectrum. But in this day and age, with the recent onset of the comic book movement moving to the crowdfunding market, we have a lot of creators who are trying to crowdfund their books, and with the degree of successes that have been occurred with people getting their books financially viable, to where, like, this is what it cost to make this book, and I made more crowdfunding it. You know what I mean? Like as that progresses, you know what I mean? Or there's a business model within it, you'll find more people coming in who are creators who've been struggling to get their books done through the regular, avenues. Like, maybe these guys are like really caliber of, top tier creators. They're excellent writers, excellent colorists, excellent artists, you know what I mean? All this kind of stuff, but they were never getting through the door. You know what I mean? And now, we don't need to, we don't need to get through the door of the main publisher to get our book out there, because the truth of the matter is, we can get our book created. We can get 1,000 copies printed. We can take those copies to conventions, and sure, we're not playing the game like the regular way, where, you make your first run 5,000 copies. Maybe you're making your first run 1,000 copies. Maybe you're making your first run 500 copies, but it's just a different model. You know what I mean? It's obviously it makes the collector's versions, the first runs, a lot more valuable, to the collector. So, because there's less. So if the series hits off, if it picks up and becomes super huge, and you end up being very successful, then the first runs are the super valuable copies. So okay, so this character here is the main character that we see here.
That's Enkidu. That's the old Enkidu, the old
Enkidu.
Enkidu. Yeah, it still looks good, but we want him to look amazing. It's a sequel to the oldest story in human history. He has to look better, So yeah,
the oldest story in history. Yeah. So what is okay? So tell us a little bit about this story. What makes this particular story, like, not just who the character is and the setup, but I mean, what's going to happen in this story that's going to make it really, like, we have to have this first book?
Well, the thing is, first of all, we're gonna get to see how his minds work. Like, I didn't post that out yet. I think it's only on Twitter. Is this thing still going? Can you see what I'm seeing right now?
Yeah, let me add it. There we go.
Oh yeah, sure. Like, for example, yeah, he has this kind of a, yeah, because his mind works so fast. I think around the move too slow, so he kind of can see the patterns. He can see things that can happen before they happen, and this is one example of these. Of his way of vision. I didn't put the lettering and everything. I already have them, but when I share my art, I don't want to share the story. So where's that image?
That's the beauty of digital. I mean, because if we all had to
yeah,
still work
yeah,
traditional, there'd be no way
yeah,
to show our art
yeah,
without showing the lettering, because the lettering
yeah.
is in like pre-inking process. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, it's actually I have images with the lettering in them, but I honestly one of those guys who really doesn't like to share anything about his story unless it's out. I just share some of the things. So anyhow, first of all, we're gonna see, in the beginning of this year, we're gonna understand about him, and we're gonna see how awkward he is in the world. So we're gonna understand. We're gonna see him act as an autistic person firsthand in the beginning, and then we're gonna get introduced to Enkidu. We're gonna see how his mind works, how he sees, and then we're gonna see how he can, like you can see in this picture, how he's gonna be able to kick ass. So it's like like the beginning of the issue. We're gonna tell people who Enkidu is, what he can do, and and how his autism is not a weakness. Actually, it's actually a strength. For him, it's a strong point. So in the beginning of the comic, this is what I wanted to do, and this is I want to get people excited about the real story. So it's
yeah.
like a prologue. Yeah, to the actual story.
What were your favorite comics growing up? What when you were first started reading comics? What were the ones you were reading, and what were your favorites?
Well, I mentioned Batman Alien. I remember I started with that one. Uh, I mean, I immediately fell in love with Batman. And the reason why, because at that time I knew about Superman. I know about those people, and I remember even reading a comic about Superman and everything, and what's the name, Spider Man. Also, I like Spider Man. I like all these people, but the reason why I just went for Batman, because I thought he doesn't have superpowers. He was like human. He gets beat down every time, and he gets up. And this, like, for me, his superpower is his power of will. And it made me fall in love with him, especially since I was born and living as an expatriate my entire life, and it's being different someplace, it's always tough. So I was able to relate to this character. So I remember I was really in love with Batman, and little by little I moved into Spider-Man, and then I went into different comics because I like to find some unique things. When I say different where I live, I mean pretty sure it's famous there. I started to read the AD 2000, the 2000 AD comics. Judge
Right.
Dredd, and yeah, um, and honestly, I can't remember a lot. I mean, to be honest, I transitioned to books, so I started to read novels more than comics. But I returned like 3 years ago, and it was this Lock and Key comic. I remember it brought me back again to the comic industry, and then started reading again. I read Batman, White Knight, and all these awesome comics. Um, and there's a comic, an indie comic, which I really love. I love Lovecraftian comics stories, and it's called It Looks Back.
Hmm.
I read this, and I thought it's like a 5-issue one-shot comic, and it was really amazing. And there's another one called Weird Detective. Those two, I love. One of the best Lovecraftian comics that I've ever read. It's really awesome. So yeah.
Very cool. So you're a big Lovecraft fan, then?
Oh yeah.
What Lovecraft element is your favorite? Because there are a lot of people who look at Lovecraft from different angles. So
The cosmic horror thing. The unknown. The fear of the unknown. I love that, and this slow descent to madness. I love this. I love this in movies. Like yesterday, me and my wife, we watched this movie called. I watched it before, but I just showed to her. It's called what's it called? A Cure for Wellness. I love this movie. it's not Lovecraftian, but the slow descent to madness, and as the movie just like start normal and little by little, everything becomes more chaotic. I love these kind of stories, and that's what I love about H.P. Lovecraft. I mean, he's really good in writing these kind of stories.
Yeah, Lovecraft is really good at character development. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And the thing I love about a Lovecraft story is that you think it's going somewhere and it ends up somewhere else.
exactly. Yeah, that's the nice beauty thing about H.P. Lovecraft. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he is one of my favorite writers. My actually favorite writer would be Edgar Allan Poe, of course, but you
mm.
know, but
Yeah, I read
you know,
a couple of his poems. Yeah, it's really
yeah.
nice. Crazy.
Well, I just it's when I was growing up, I mean, like Poe wrote the dark stuff. You know what I mean? Like, consistently. There were other authors that wrote dark stuff here and there. You know what I mean? Like, I think the first. I mean, Poe is like my first memory of like the stuff that I used to just love to read over and over and over and like dig deeper. And every time I read it, there was something new I found in it. You know what I mean? And Poe wasn't really hard reading, so I could read it as a small child. You know, there were things that you understand better when you read them as an adult because you have a different perspective than you do as a child. But the to a 7-year-old boy, the pit and the pendulum is pretty intense. So um, so I remember reading like that, and then also H.G. Wells was also another favorite of mine growing up because it's I really love sci-fi, and the Time Machine was a book that I just couldn't get enough of, and then of course there's Martian Chronicles, which was an excellent book. I mean, so it's like I understand, like where you're coming from on that. You know what I mean? It's like the character development, the imaginative stories, that kind of stuff is just amazing. And Lovecraft has those monsters that are like, and it's like the imagery you see, like when people
Yeah,
talk about Lovecraft, you think Cthulhu, and that's it. You know what I mean? But
totally.
no, no, his monsters were like okay, think about a monster if you could just write it out, and by reading it you kind of get the shivers. You're like, ooh.
Yes, exactly what I love about the gods, the archaic gods. The way he described them, it's just like never ever, nothing I ever read. So that's what I love about it. And by the way, I would like to recommend a book for you. I think you like reading horror, so because this book it's unique. I never seen anything like it. It's called House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski. It's one of the best books I've ever read. The book plays with you, actually. It's called House of Leaves. I really recommend this book. It's one of
Mark
the
Z.
best horror books.
Danielewski.
Yeah, Mark Z. Danielewski.
Yeah.
Yeah, this book, is one of the most beautiful books, one of the scariest books I've read, and it's really smartly written. I really recommend you check that out. It's really nice, really smart, and like I've never seen anything like it. It's very rarely you see a book that you read and you think, oh God, I'm very glad I'm alive in this time and era to be able to read that book. So it's one of the few books that made me feel that way. So it's
Well,
really
I
amazing.
just added it to my list on Amazon. So
Oh yeah,
I have
yeah.
a lot of different lists on
Thank
Amazon,
you
but
later.
I have like a reading list, like books that have been recommended that I'll check out when I have time to sit down and read a whole book. Um, it's like one of those things that when you're like juggling a lot of stuff, like leisure reading is not something I do much of anymore. Like now, like leisure reading, like the time that I would have for that, I'll like pick up a comic book that I just bought from a friend. You know what I mean? And then I'll like
Yeah,
catch up on. I mean, seriously, I have like 6 books that were delivered in the last couple months that I have to catch up on reading. You know what I mean? And and
there
I
are
still have,
full bookshelves that I
yeah.
haven't touched yet.
Right,
I
and
love.
I still have writing to do. I still have all kinds of stuff that I have to do. I mean, I even have video editing that I have to do. You know what I mean? There's like all kinds of stuff that I have to get done. So like and then obviously I do programming to make a living at still, you know what I mean? So it's like, there is very little leisure time available for reading. And then so yeah, I have like a list of books that's probably about like 40 books deep. I have a list of movies that's about 50 movies deep. You know what I mean? It's like one of those. The beauty of movies though is like that time comes up because I don't have to like have my brain turned on to absorb a movie. You know what I mean? But I do have to have it turned on to absorb a book. So it's like I can like Netflix movies because they're easily accessible. I don't have to buy the movie. I don't have to download it. It's just right there. Boom. That like if something's on Netflix or like a service that I can access easily, and the reason why I talk about Netflix is because I can get Netflix off of any device, my phone, my actual regular TV, my computer. It's friendly with everything, whereas not all platforms are friendly with everything like that. So it's
actually recently while I'm coloring, I just put on Netflix and listen to stand-ups comedies while I'm coloring.
I do that a lot when I'm actually working. I'll listen to comedies, or I'll watch a show, that is very, I don't know, very slow. You might say like it's like something I don't have to like pay attention to. You know what I mean? Something that I can follow just by like listening to it, and catch a little at a time, and then look over to see what the imagery looks like, and then just and keep listening to it. There's a lot of shows like that, especially on Netflix. You know what I mean? That are it's kind of like it's almost like daytime TV, not like soap operas, but TV that's written around like 4 o'clock or earlier. That they usually broadcasts around that time. Those episodes are tend to be stuff that people watch while they're doing something else. You know what I mean? So
to fill the silence,
yeah, exactly. So it's like that kind of stuff. I can easily have playing when I'm working. If it's a good show, I can't do it while I'm working because I'll not get work done. I'll be all.
Yeah, I can relate to that. So that's why you choose stand-up comedy. I don't have to see anything; just listen while I color. Of course, if I'm writing, complete silence. Cannot write with any sounds around me.
Yeah, I can do noise in the background when I'm writing, but it's got to be a certain kind of noise. It's got to be something that I'm not interested in. Something I can tune out and not really care about. Like I can have the news on or something like that, or I can have a movie that I've already seen a bunch of times. You know what I mean, or something like that.
I actually use rainforests or some kind of a cryo and binaural sounds, something like that, or rainforest. Like it's sunny outside and at home I'm writing while there are like thunders and rain sounds in the background while I'm walking. I do that, but I do it to mask other sounds, There's a car passing by or anything. Yeah. I cannot write with sounds around me. I have to do something to mask the, distractions.
Yeah, I have the ability to just like tune everything out. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Yeah. Some people don't. Some people don't. I have other things that I can't do. Like I have issues with memorization. You know what I mean? Like, it's like everybody who's like good at trivia, I'm jealous of because like I even like use the false claim of senility now when I'm forgetting stuff. Because it's always something memorization has always been a problem. You know what I mean? Like pulling a name out of the hat, talking about a movie, forgetting the name of the movie, forgetting the name of a person, forgetting, it's like everybody has that problem to a degree. I have it really bad. You know what I mean? And I've always had it, like spelling, like when I first discovered it as a child, like people would be able to remember how words are spelled, right? I would be okay if it was just sound out the word, you know what I mean? And it spelled like it was sounded out, you know what I mean? But if it was like some kind of special pattern or something like that, like I would have to learn the word. I would have to say it to myself as how it was spelled out. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, this is funny, recipes, right? I could never spell the word recipes and I still mess it up all the time. But if I tell myself recipes, It's recipes. It's not
It's
recipes. It's
Teresa, yeah.
recipes.
That's a good way to remember spelling. That's good.
So
Yeah,
that I could spell it right. So I would have
yeah.
to I would have to draw some kind of analogy or some kind of parallel or train myself to remember it as a different word so that I could spell it, because I will not be able to remember how it's spelled. You know what I mean? Unless you
Yeah.
know, so it's yeah, that same problem applies in so many different areas of my life. It was just like crazy. I just, like theater class used to drive everyone nuts that I could not remember the lines. You know what I mean?
Can imagine.
I would know all the lines, but I would not know them in order for shit. You know?
Oh.
So like we're like in a scene and I'm like jumping over to this other part of the scene, and then we're like, oh, and then everybody comes over with me, and then I jump over to this other part of the scene and they're like, you fucking asshole. You know what I mean? No one wanted to be on my team, let me tell you. But improv, I was great. I was fantastic at improv because I didn't have to memorize shit, you know.
Oh, actually, I'm one of the people who likes to plan things. Improv, maybe like in a dialogue or conversation. But like if I have to do something funny or comedy, no, I don't think I'm good at improv.
Yeah,
I never tried it, but I imagine I'm not that good.
Yeah, I'm very easily distracted, like a dog with a squirrel. You know, I'm like, I'm easy. Yeah, squirrel. I'm easily distracted, and like I said, memorization is a problem for me. Like that. Now I can memorize with music. You know what I mean? It's almost like an association thing, like with something with music. You know what I mean? Like song lyrics. I don't really have too many issues with that, as long as I can hear the song in my head. You know what I mean? Or that kind of thing, because it's rhymes, there's rhyming aspects of it, there's a pattern to it. In poetry I was also good at memorizing poetry, you know what I mean, but just lines, dialogue, stuff that's just like, yeah, no, it would take a lot of work for me to memorize anything. So I definitely have a mental breakdown in that part of my brain, you know what I mean? Well, but I compensate with creativity probably. So
Well, I think you and me both, man. Yeah, I mean, my wife keeps telling me, always forget what I'm telling you, always remember what you like, So, like, if there's something related to my work or book or something, if I'm doing research about it, I remember it. And that's true, And when you said about your songs, I thought, yeah, maybe because you like the songs, that's why you remember them. So, yeah, the missus always keep telling me this, you always remember the things that you like, but you don't remember the other things. And by the way, today's our wedding anniversary, 1 year wedding
well,
anniversary.
congratulations. How many years?
1.
Oh, that's an important anniversary, and that I shouldn't hold you up too long. That you should definitely get back to the missus. It's like she's gonna be like sitting there tapping her foot. Hurry up! We got places to go. This is my time right now.
Yeah, well, I told them I'm gonna be interviewed by the Captain Love, so maybe she thought, so I'm getting advice or something. I think coming back.
That's funny. That's funny. That's really funny. No, so everybody who has not, who just joined us or has not seen this yet, please go on Indiegogo, and the link is in the description. I believe I put the link in the description. Go and check out the Epics of Enkidu. Right? Is it Enkidu?
Yes, it's Enkidu. Yeah,
Enkidu.
Yep.
What's funny is there's an old child song that uses the name Enkidu, but I don't think it was referenced to a person.
Really?
Yeah. It's like Inka Dinka Dinka Dink, Inka Dinka Doo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But has nothing to do with Enkidu himself,
No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. It's just that it's like a series of noises, and Enkidu sounds like Inka Dinka Dinka Dink, Inka Dinka. You know what I mean? There's I forget. I actually I'm not doing it right, but it does. The reason I think it ends up with Enkidu is because the line after that is "I love you." You know what I mean? So it's like it rhymes. Yeah. So it rhymes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, and I totally could be wrong. Someone's probably watching this right now or listening to it, and they're like, "Oh, dude's fucking so off base. That's not the words to the song." Yeah. It's like, I thought he memorized songs. Damn it. That's when I blame senility. I'm like, I'm just senile. I'm just senile. All right, well, let's give this video a watch real fast, and then we'll go over everything one more time, and then we'll let you get back to your wife. So,
Oh, thanks.
you're like, oh, damn it.
This is actually a quote from the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's actually.
There's something odd about him. He was brought here wearing strange clothes. We tried to place the drip, but the needle couldn't go through his skin. But do you know what's the weird part? Weirder than this? When Dr. Yunnan learned about this, he brought handcuffs and told us not to disturb it. It was as if Dr. Yunnan knew what's going on, as if he had seen this before. Oh my god, he blocked the door. We can't go inside.
Excuse me? Mind if I try?
Sir, this one's different.
Nothing I haven't seen before.
Hello, my name is Ahmed, and I'm the creator of the comic The Epics of Enkidu, which is a twist and perhaps a sequel to the world's oldest story ever found in human history, the Epics of Gilgamesh. Our story features a superhero who happens to be autistic. His brain works so fast that everything around him moves too slow, which makes him socially odd and interacts with the world differently. But it does help him analyze things, to see the pattern, to see things that can happen before it happens. This story is very dear to me because it's inspired by my dear nephew, who is an awesome autistic kid. The other inspiration is my passion for history and ancient myths. Our story takes place in a modern setting, where Enkidu, the other hero from the legend, is brought back and he doesn't remember who he is. That is until he meets a familiar face. The comic is sketched and inked by artist Felix Torres, a talented artist from Chile, and the story is written and colored by yours truly. We decided to raise funds to create this project and to help spread awareness about autism, and we really hope you can help us achieve that goal. Which is why also I'm very excited to bring this beautiful story in full color into your hands as soon as the campaign ends. Thank you very much. Help us revive the legend.
Well, that makes it sound interesting. So that's good.
Thanks. Yeah.
And I'm going to put the link here in the chat, so it'll be in the comments on Facebook, so it's easy to find in the description. And it's going to be here. So everybody who's watching this, when you have a chance, come back and check out the book. If you are somebody who just wants to support autism, it's a great book for you to support. If you are interested, or maybe you got somebody in your family who's autistic, this is obviously another layer of life connection to a storyline that you can do. And the book itself sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting. So if you just like a good book, then there's another excuse. So you got no excuses. So get yourself over to Indiegogo and show some support to this. Now let's go over these tiers really fast here. Let's see. You have one signed copy plus. Okay, you're going to have to e-copy. What's the
e-copy? And like a PDF, electronic copies.
Electronic copy, I gotcha. And then a T-shirt for $85 Australian, which roughly is $60, $59 USD. And then you have the digital copy for 15 Australian, which is 10 USD. You have the physical copy plus the digital copy for 25 Australian, which is 17 USD. And obviously, that'll change any minute, you guys. The rate of exchange. Variant cover is $25 Australian, $17 USD. And then obviously 2 copies, 1 signed plus the PDF copy. And we got $50 Australian, $35 USD. Signed copy, digital copy, and poster. How big is the poster?
It's A2 size, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay. A2 size poster.
A2 size, yeah.
And so that's $75 for that group of things. And then you got 5 copies, so you can share them, make them Christmas gifts. It should be done. You should get it in time for Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, or Hanukkah, or whatever winter holiday you support. Or just winter. Here, keep us warm. Okay. If you might have a small, I try to like think like everybody. You know what I mean? It's like there's some people who don't celebrate shit in wintertime. See, good friends, you might think that, get it for some friends. That's what he suggests. And then you got 10 copies, which that's and a poster, which is a pretty good deal. Especially if you're trying to a bunch of people who want all, like, say you have a bunch of friends and you all like are into comics, and you're like thinking that, okay, the shipping on this might be a disaster, right? Buy 10.
Yeah.
Get with your friends, all chip in, buy 10. You split the shipping up, save a bunch of money. So there's I'm just trying to tell you, you got no excuses. Back his book.
Bacchus.
So we've been going for an hour. I think we've covered it. Anything else you want to tell people to pay attention to, or?
I know. I mean, I think I shared most of the thing I'd like to share about the comic, and I really look forward to your support, and I really hope that you all will enjoy this comic. It really supports a good cause. So, thank you very much.
Yeah. So the book's in demand right now. You're going to keep it in demand until you fulfill, or you're going to keep it in demand after that? You're going to overprint and keep going, or?
If I land a good publisher, maybe I'll stop at that. But at the moment, I'm just going to keep going on in demand.
Okay, excellent. So there you go. Get yourself to this book. If you may not have missed it, you may have. So make sure you click the link and check it out. All right. Thank you guys for coming, and thank you very much, Ahmed, for hanging out and telling us about your book. I think this is an awesome thing, and everybody, we'll see you next time on Indie Comics Interviews. Have a great day.